Now, let's get to the point. An American military analyst said that the way the West and Russia are acting is the way to peace. This strategy is called escalate to de-escalate, which means that both sides will fight to the maximum extent possible to stop the war, or at least get to the beginning of the end. However, the path to peace in Ukraine has become a road to nowhere. The West believes that these tanks cannot be lost by the Russians, so they don't consider it a loss. Instead, they see it as a strategic opportunity to get revenge. He will pilot the tank, and NATO is not overly concerned with the soldier's survival. However, it would be an immense burden to NATO if this soldier causes death or destruction with the tank, or leads to a costly conflict. The West has crossed a major red line in NATO by sending tanks to Ukraine. It is an act of war, as Europe is sending the latest tanks, Challenger, made in the UK, and Leopard, the latest tank made in Germany and most European countries. It is now an extraordinary move to send anything else to Ukraine. Sending a tank destroyer would not make a huge difference. The focus has now shifted to the F-16 aircrafts. Why? Because they are attacking. Keep in mind that the F-16s are offensive aircrafts, not only for government use. Ukraine must defend itself, so F-16s are being sent. This is proof that the Ukrainian foreign minister said there is pressure on the F-16s. Ukraine is making progress as the people rise up in the war. Take notice of Ukraine's promotion of the topic. Ukraine recently announced that 2 officers were taken out of Salida. This is where Wagner declared a week ago that they were captured and the Ukrainian forces were first to retreat. Ukraine then said no. We have withdrawn from Salida. On the Eastern Front, the Ukrainian army has decided to withdraw from the eastern part of the country after Moscow declared 2 weeks ago that it was taking over. The military spokesman for the eastern Ukraine, Sergei Chervity, announced to the French press agency that after tough battles lasting for months, the Ukrainian forces have pulled back to prepared positions. This means that something else is wanted, not just tanks. He is a worker who speaks with a truncheon, so they will crush us. We need planes too. Well, NATO can send planes when? They can send planes as soon as the Russians progress to far distances and achieve great victories. You will find that the West is discussing sending the F-16 to Ukraine. Not just that, Germany is also talking about sending the Typhoon aircraft, which can be sent to Ukraine by Germany and England. These tanks will not be deployed immediately. No, he told you they are 3 to 14 months old. They will pass through the Ukrainian side, which allows the Russians to advance quickly to get to their lands before the Ukrainian tanks enter. The U.S. Defense Department stated that the United States will train the Ukrainian forces on how to use these tanks before they are delivered. Germany said in a statement in the name of the government that it will start training the Ukrainians on how to use tanks, encouraging European countries that have a Leopard to do the same. However, the Ukrainian tanks are not defensive tanks, so the Russians will pay little as a result of their progress. Secondly, the Russian army will expect to attack Ukrainian forces on any land they control. Thirdly, I expect that the Russians will be more hostile than they are currently. Furthermore, I have news that you will never hear again, a news that was released in Axios, an intelligence news outlet. This news was not released by any YouTube channel. Anyone who talks about Russia or Ukraine did not see this news and probably will not see it either. The US noticed that Israel had large stores of a powerful defensive system called Hawk. Hawk is an American strong defense system, very old. Israel bought it from the US in the 1960s. In 1968, Israel bought the first F-16 from the US Air Force. The F-16 is a mobile air defense system. It is a truck with a car. It does not have a launch pad. It is a very good system, but very vulnerable. The US says that the air defense systems of Israel are systems that the US has upgraded more than once, but the problem is that they are stored. What does this mean? Israel started to withdraw from these Hawk defense systems. By the way, these are not long-range defense systems. but medium and short range. This was Israel's shield to stop Egyptian aircrafts. It was used in the war in 1973, but these systems are stored, and Israel has a large amount of them in its warehouses. According to Axios, an American official looked at Israel's warehouses and found that there were large amounts of them. The US asked Israel to get rid of the Syrian regime. What did Israel say? Israel said it was not going to do it. Why? This is not our job. We are a service provider and we are overburdened. We are not willing to use it. Do you want something from AMSA? This is not our job. Don't ask us. Why did Israel respond like this? Israel doesn't want to lose Russia in Syria. That's why they put the axis in the middle. The axis of Russia and Israel has an agreement to target Iranian forces in Syria. Zelensky is an Israeli Jew, and the US is sending weapons from its warehouses in Israel and South Korea to the Ukrainian army. The US and Russia are at odds, with the US pushing to the brink in Ukraine, and the Russians not wanting to be defeated. The New York Times reported that the Pentagon is sending arms from its Israeli and South Korean stores to Ukraine to fulfill the country's instant military needs. Meanwhile, the DPR is secretly providing Russia's war in Ukraine with artillery shells, trying to make it look like they are being sent to other countries in the Middle East or North Africa. Ukraine is taking measures to remove Russian forces. Russia is also expanding its military presence in the Atlantic Ocean, with the Admiral Gorshkov aircraft carrier conducting exercises with a missile faster than the speed of sound. This is in order to send a message to the US that war could be direct between the two countries. Russia is also sending a new group of soldiers to Egypt. All of this has led to tensions between the two nations, with both sides hoping to avoid conflict.